This course, Semantics and Pragmatics. In this lecture, we're going to discuss some basic notions related to semantics and pragmatics, starting with this question: what is semantics? You are probably familiar with this definition because you already studied Introduction to Linguistics, but it's helpful to repeat it here. So semantics is the technical term used to refer to the study of meaning. So here we have two key words. We have study, which we mean by scientific study. So the scientific study using the scientific method of meaning, and we're going to talk about meaning more in a bit. This term is not an old term in English, so it didn't exist in English for long. It's actually a recent addition to the English language. One of the earliest uses of the term was in 1894, and it was used in a paper called Reflected Meanings, a Point in Semantics. But in this paper it wasn't used in the way that we use it today. It was used to refer to historical semantics, which is the study of meaning and its development. So the development of meaning is not really how we use semantics, the term semantics today. We use historical semantics to refer to this meaning. So the meaning changed than it was in 1894. But this is the earliest uses of the term in the English language. In 1900, this is when the term semantics began to be used in the same way as we use it today. So in a book called Semantics, Studies in the Science of Meaning, the term has been used as we use it today, to refer to the science of meaning, and not the changes of meaning from a historical point of view, not to the development of meaning by looking at the historical development. No, just to the science of meaning. It's the same way that we use it today. So two dates to remember: 1894, this is the beginning of the use, or one of the earliest uses of the term in the English language, but it meant something different. It meant historical semantics, what we know today as historical semantics. In 1900, it was used similar to what we use it today to talk about the science of meaning. Semantics is also used in popular language. It is used in newspapers, but the use is different than what we use it as linguists. So in popular language, especially in newspapers, the word semantics is used to refer to the manipulation of language. So you use a word instead of another word to manipulate the reader or the listener. So, for example, in an article in The Guardian called Semantic Maneuvers at the Pentagon, the article was published in 1971. Here the word semantic maneuvers at the Pentagon is not used in the same way as we use it in linguistics. It is used here to talk about the manipulation of language. So in the article, the term mobile maneuvers was being used to mean retreat. Instead of saying retreat, which has a negative connotation, people will think negatively of the word retreat, they use mobile maneuver. So it's a different way to use a word that is not looked too favorably upon, and this is what we call semantic, which is manipulating the language and choosing the right word to mislead people, mislead the reader, or mislead the listener. Moving on to something else, we said that semantics is a study of meaning. So meaning is an important word here, and what does it mean? What does meaning mean? And this might be circular here. What is the meaning of meaning? So meaning covers a variety of aspects of language, and between semanticists there is no general agreement about the nature of meaning. So you'll find different views about the nature of meaning. Of course, through the studies we do in semantics, we have reached some good points, as we have some good understanding of meaning, but still there are many points of conflict and many points of differences. There is no general agreement about what meaning is. Looking at the word itself, if you take the word meaning or the verb mean and you go look it up in the dictionary, you'll find different meanings of mean and different meanings of meaning. Okay, so here, for the purpose of our study here, we are going to give two possible definitions, or two possible ways to look at meaning. The word mean can be applied to the people who use the language. So people who use language, when you say, a speaker means something, the word mean here is used in the sense of intent. So if I'm talking to someone and I ask him, what do you mean? This word here, mean, is used to refer to intention. What do you intend to say to me? What are you trying to say to me? So this is the first use of the word mean. It is applied to people who use the language in the sense of intent. There's also another use. It can be applied to words and sentences in the sense of be equivalent to. So if you say, what does this word mean? Okay, so the first way to look at meaning is by looking at speakers. What do speakers mean? Okay, and we said that means intent. The other way to look at it is by looking at words and sentences and phrases, and saying, what do these words mean? This use is meant as, what is the equivalent? What is the equivalent of these words and these sentences? To understand what meaning is, one has to keep in mind whether we are talking about the speaker or whether we are talking about the words and sentences. Are we talking about what the speaker means or what the words and sentences mean? And from this we are going to give two definitions. The first one is utterance meaning or speaker meaning, is what a speaker means. In other words, what he intends to convey to the listener when he uses, of course, a piece of language. This use includes the secondary aspects of meaning, especially those related to context, the situation where the conversation is taking place or where the communication is taking place. We are taking these aspects of meaning that might not be looked at if we don't have the intention of the speaker in mind. So, utterance meaning or speaker meaning is what a speaker means when he uses a piece of language. This is the first definition. The second one, sentence meaning or word meaning, is what a sentence or word means. So, what does this word mean? What does this sentence mean? We can go and look up a word in a dictionary and see the different meanings of the word. This is what what we mean by saying word meaning or sentence meaning. In other words, what it counts as the equivalent of in the language concerned. So when you go to the dictionary, you open the dictionary and you look up a word, you're seeing equivalence, something that is equivalent of the word being defined. And this is what we mean by word meaning. So two definitions: utterance meaning or speaker meaning, sentence meaning or word meaning. They both have different uses, and we're going to talk more about them throughout the coming lectures, so try to keep their definitions in mind. Let's have an example of what we mean by each one of these definitions. So if someone says nice day, this sentence, if we are looking just at the word, if you're just looking at the sentence itself, the words in the sentence, it is equivalent to something like, this is a lovely day. So this is sentence meaning or word meaning. Okay, so this is a lovely day. However, if you are going to look at the situation and the speaker's expressions, his tone of voice, the relationship between the speaker and the listener, there might be some animosity between them, they might be in a fight or something like that, the meaning changes. So here we'll be looking at speaker meaning or utterance meaning. So if you're going to look at the situation, it can mean actually the exact opposite. So the speaker might mean, no, this is not a nice day. Okay, so depending on his tone of voice and the facial expressions, it can mean something different. Okay, so when you say nice day, all right, it can mean something else other than what we might think of at first thought. From what we discussed above, it becomes clear that there is a distinction between what would seem be the usual meaning, the meaning that we find in the dictionary, and of a word or a sentence, and the meaning that it has in a certain specific circumstance or context. So if you're looking at a situation, or if you're looking at the contents, context, you are looking at pragmatics. So we're going to give a definition of pragmatics in a bit, but if you are involving the situation or the context in meaning, you are talking about pragmatics. If you're talking about meaning in general, independent of the context, you're talking about semantics. So this is the difference between the two. And this distinction between the two is what allows us to say one thing and mean another thing. So you can say something like nice day, but you actually mean no, this is not a nice day. As I said, this is the difference between semantics and pragmatics. So what is pragmatics? This is the last point we're going to talk about here. Pragmatics is the study of meaning that a sentence has in a particular context. So context is a very important word here, in which it is uttered. So pragmatics is heavily involved with context, with situation, and on the other hand, semantics is not. It is independent of context. So as we mentioned above, the difference between semantics and pragmatics is that the study of semantics is independent of context, while the study of pragmatics is dependent on context. It is involved with context and the situation in which the conversation takes place, or in which the piece of language or the utterance takes place. So look at this example here. This is the last example we're going to talk about in this lecture. If we say there's a car coming, if you just look at the words, the sentence itself, it can just mean simply that a car is coming, just giving someone information that there is a car coming. But if you're looking at the context and the situation, you might be walking with a friend in the street, and then you tell him there's a car coming. So what does this mean? It means that you're giving him a warning. So we can understand this sentence as a warning. Be careful, there is a car coming, so you need to stop. All right, so this is just some basic notions that we have introduced here. We're going to talk more about them throughout the coming lectures. Of course, all of these will be important for us in the coming lectures, so it's good to understand them now before moving on to the other lectures. And inshallah, in the next lecture we're going to talk about more about other things, including sense, relations, sense and reference, and other topics in semantics. So thank you for listening throughout the lecture, and I will see you inshallah in the coming lecture, which will be lecture 2 inshallah.